Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. So this reading is about some sort of awakening. Something is emerging from within you. This is when we get to discover who we are and where we're going. And so once we start this awakening, we have access to our energy. We have access to intuition and knowledge that at one point it may have laid dormant because we just couldn't see it. We didn't even know it existed, right? And so as you awaken, you start to realize how you connect to the world around you. You embrace the idea that we actually are all one. However, individually, we each have our own unique path, right? And so we've got to figure out a way, well, how do we live in balance between those two worlds? How am I a part of a collective, but how am I also a part of being an individual with my own path where no one else can share it with me? The magic I possess belongs to me. No one else except for me can fulfill my purpose, which is why you are so significant in this collective. Somebody, many people, everybody needs you to essentially show up and to share your fortune. And when I'm talking about your fortune, I'm not necessarily talking about money or finances or tangible things. The most fortunate thing about you is your essence. It is your energy, right? That is where you find your own creativity, your own talent, and your own gifts. And so sometimes we have to remember that life is abundant and I actually have more than I need. Now we can get distracted if we are only focusing on possessions, right? Because sometimes if we try to hold on too tight to our possessions, we end up blocking ourselves off from stepping into the flow, right? The flow of wealth and the flow of happiness, right? And so the scarcity mindset, although our intentions are pure, but if we are fearful that we don't have enough to go around, or if we open up too much, if we share too much, I'm going to lack in some way. And so the reality is sometimes we are looking down on those that lack, or we are looking down on ourselves in the event we are in a position of lack. And so this is about understanding that hoarding is not beneficial to self and it's not beneficial to the collective. And in this situation, we're talking about helping others in times of need. And so what is your gift? What is your talent? What is your creativity? Now, one of the ways that we will experience misfortune is when we are unwise or we are selfish with how we share our creativity and how we share our talent. Now, when we use the gifts that we are given, right, that brings us a level of peace of mind and contentment. And so whatever you are holding, whether you understand the gift that you have, the talent that you have, you may not even feel comfortable yet identifying it, and that's okay. You have to almost support it through healthy diet, proper exercise, proper rest. Whether you know it's inside of you or not, treat yourself as if you are kind of going through some type of pregnancy. You are going to birth an understanding of who you are and what you possess. You are essentially waking to yourself, right? And you are going to better understand the role you play. And so start to live as if you are grooming and nurturing something inside of you to come alive. So don't withhold your strengths. Don't hoard them. Don't undermine your own endeavors, right? Because this is how we let our talents and our creativity go astray, right? So this is understanding ambition versus impatience, success versus failure, giving and receiving, passion, resistance, right? This, you are starting to balance your individual role and what that looks like collectively when you are talking about showing up into the world and doing something that only you can do. And if you overlook your potential, then you get to the space of not being able to develop the aspects of yourself that you are spiritually called to develop, right? This is what you came here for. And so what have you come here to do? What do you possess that no one else does, right? What is it? And one of the easiest ways to figure out those answers is literally to follow your bliss. Your soul knows, right? And so first, pursue the things that make you happy. Pursue the things that bring you joy. Now, something that is going to help you along this path is the fact that you have attracted a certain level of protection. And so guidance is available to you. That means when your nerves are unsettled, you will find comfort, right? When you are in stressful situations, don't be surprised if there's some type of companion or assistance that just makes its way to you, right? And so you possess, whether you know it or not, the stamina and the endurance to go the extra mile. Your feelings are going to be shifting as you're kind of getting your footing and your bearings, right? And so sometimes there could have been something that appeared to be unalive, and all of a sudden it just brings you vitality. It brings you passion, right? And so as you are going through this season, you are safe and you are protected, and be mindful of the people that you choose to rely on. Be mindful of the people that you would consider to be wise counsel. So seek out the company of those that you trust, right? This is about avoiding the naysayers, avoiding the people that tend to speak or have a dirty tongue, right? When they're talking about life and possibility and expectations, because you are in this vulnerable state of really opening up to your truest form. And so we have to surround ourselves with people who possess a certain type of heart, a certain type of sensitivity, or else it could stifle us. It could take us off track, right? And so you are sensitive to others in this specific season because you need to be sensitive to yourself, right? So there are certain walls that you kind of have to drop down, but know that you are protected, know that you are safe, and know that you have guidance. Be mindful, because as you are sitting in this sensitive type of energy, you absolutely can absorb the negative feelings or the insecurities of others, which is why we should look for people that have a good heart and that will provide us with wise counsel. Not because they're perfect, not because they've done it all right, but because their perspective is wide. They have a scope, they have a vision where they can just see the bigger picture, okay? In order to move towards the self, or the part of you that you are not yet familiar with, it requires you to be in the energy of having courage, right? If you are going to move towards your dream, then your dream is going to move towards you. So sometimes success, it's not about somebody being the most talented. It is about somebody having the audacity to pursue themselves, right? It is about the energy that you have just delivered. This is you saying, listen, life, universe, God, spirit, I believe in myself, and I believe that I have the ability to do this. I'm going to chase this. I'm going to pursue this. Will you assist me? And literally every step you take, God moves one step closer. You take 2 steps, God did. So you bring it towards you. And listen, fear is attached to this, right? Because if you desire something, right, you love it, you're passionate, you're happy, fear is attaching itself to it, because in some ways you imagine what it's like not to achieve it or not to have it, right? This is when we start to doubt ourselves. Am I worthy of this? Am I even capable of getting here, right? Do I have the right abilities? Is success mine? You know, am I a person that can be successful? And so in order to have courage, it's not about getting rid of fear. It's about saying yes in spite of having it. I know I'm afraid to go after my dream. I know I am afraid to develop this aspect of myself or my skills or my talents or my personality, but I also know that I'm deserving. Now, yes, I'm afraid of letting it slip away or of not achieving the success that I most desire, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it afraid, right? So you just follow the fear and you say yes to the adventure, right? But you are really saying yes to what you really want, because you know you deserve what you really want. Now, there can be a significant partnership that plays a role in this matter. And so this could be the companion that comes in to support you. But we have the energy of you being able to thrive in partnerships. And so if you've and we're going to talk about some of the challenges, but if you've been through connections with people in the past, past that have left you weak and devastated and distraught. When it's time to kind of step into the greatest version of yourself, you are going to need supportive connections around you. And they don't always have to be intimate. These can be, a new friendship, a business partnership, but this is a soul that matches you in some way. And somehow your paths are going to merge. But can you trust it, right? The failure of the past connections, is that going to make you so afraid that you don't allow a new connection to come in, right? And so this is about you realizing that, listen, when I am connected to other people, my heart is actually leaping. I am actually joyful. That truth and that reality needs to stay the same no matter what you've been through in the past, okay? And so have courage in your ability to connect. Now, this could be romance for some, right? This could be some type of love, attraction, or bliss. This is something that is going to inevitably make you happy. But it's just the idea of the connection or a partnership that sometimes can be scary. So choose the people and choose the energy of the people that you attach yourself to wisely, because you are in a season of shifting and molding. When you are talking about sharing yourself with another, sharing your energy with another, who is that person? How do you feel around them? Take note of your own sensitivity. Take note of your own energy. Listen. And we don't want to sabotage good connections because we're holding back, or we are hoarding special parts of us because we're afraid that somebody won't see us. They won't appreciate us, right? They won't be able to acknowledge us. And guess what? No matter how people perceive you, you are who you are, whether they see it or not. So if you are talented and if you are gifted, you are talented when they are looking at you, and you are talented when they are not looking at you, right? So this is about not being partially committed, right? You are one half of a committed pair. And so if you are putting your energy into relationships, realize that your hearts are connecting, right? And just as devoted as a lover or as a friend as you are, somebody else will be able to match that, right? And so this is significant. There is a significant connection that is coming up. If you're single and if this is what you're looking for something profound, something passionate, it's coming, but can you match the energy? Or will you hoard? Will you hold back, right? And it's hard to grow a healthy relationship if we are surrounded by a friendship circle or a family community where people are bitter. They don't value love. They don't value peace. They don't value trust and loyalty and forgiveness. It's really hard to grow the connection and the companionship that you want when we are surrounded by people who just don't value and appreciate it. So that is why you should be sensitive. If this is a new connection that's unfolding from you, don't hold back from the connection out of fear. Shut off the other relationships that give you an energy or give you a vibe, or essentially just live a life that you don't want to live, right? And don't take advice from people that don't have the connection that you want to desire, right? Don't go to the bitter one when you're trying to figure out if this person is the one for you. Should I take this leap of faith? Should I open up, right? Don't go to the person that has nothing in their life that displays what it is you are about to grow in your life, right? So now you are being guided as this kind of unfolds, to consider the fact that there are certain aspects of life that we honestly can't control. Now, the thing that we can always control is how we respond to certain situations. And so you are going through this process of kind of like knowing that you are worthy of success, whether that's in love, finance, family, relationships, whatever it is that you desire, you are absolutely worthy of it. But sometimes we kind of go through these changes that we never were able to predict or see coming, right? These events that can be confusing. And so these are the things that kind of knock us down in our ability to kind of believe who we are and to believe what we are able to have. And so whether you've just been through something that kind of seemed like a storm, or you're still in it, right? Or you kind of can sense that something is coming. First, all storms pass, right? As you go through whatever this experience is, you are already given safe passage. You are protected. You will be guided. The people that you need to help you through it are coming, right? And so match the energy and expect it to come. However, be careful of your speech and be careful how you respond when we go through these situations and changes that we really have no control over. This is about really acting in a restrained manner, having a low profile. Like sometimes you got to step out and be seen. Sometimes you got to sit in the back and be a wallflower. And so whenever circumstances in our life are shifting, this is not a time to like try to develop a strategy because the parts are moving, right? The pieces are always going in one direction. One day it looks like this, the next day it looks like this. And so to kind of create a strategy, strategize how you show up to the change. Strategize your own energy because you cannot control anything outside of you. You can only control your part of the equation, right? So this is being in the present moment. This is like, okay, I know this is shifting, but I'm going to keep creating, right? I'm going to do what I love to do, no matter what it looks like or feels like around me. I have a role to play in the greater collective. I have a very unique path and only I can do it, right? And so no matter what your environment is, no matter what the storm is, you still have the ability to bring your creation to life instead of worrying about the future. You can control the future and you can't control the outcome of the shifts. You can't even control how the shifts take place or arrive or show up, right? And so absorb yourself in the process of pursuing you. Absorb yourself in the process of simply being you, right? And so on the other side of this, there is a level of a success that you are going to be so grateful for, even if you can't see it yet, right? And so something that you've been working towards or something that you are about to start working towards, it is going to come to successful fruition. But when these storms come, we may have a tendency to be like, oh God, all that work I did, it's not coming. You know, if what I did worked, then why am I going through this? We tend to doubt the process, but every shift and every change is truly working for our favor. It's working for our highest good. And when you're building or creating, establishing, growing, developing, every day is not going to feel like a win. And so when you get a win, you celebrate it. You live off of that energy. You bask in your accomplishments, right? Because you need that. You need that momentum. And so choose the energy that is choosing you. If there's resistance or destruction or low-key failures that you think are happening, don't live in that. Just realize that it's a part of the process, right? It's a part of the unfolding. And so you will be a part of some type of community or you will have some type of support system that is going to appreciate the progress that you've made, right? These are people that don't mind taking the time out to see your own radiance, right? If you are stepping into the greatest version of you, you cannot shy away from receiving attention, okay? You have something to do, which means you have to be seen. Right? There is a light that you hold that nobody else holds. So why hide it? Right? And the past, we know why we hide it. We know why we choose to kind of gatekeep our own potential. It's because of what we've endured. We're not sure if it's safe to come out. I just kind of get this image of a hermit crab, like peeking out and going back in, peeking out and going back in, right? Kind of testing the waters to see if you can be you. You can be you no matter what the waters look like, right? And the idea is that when the waters are rough, when the waters are choppy, you float. That is not a time to swim. Absolutely not. And so you learn in the storms how to respond and how best to conserve and balance your own energy. They do serve a purpose, even when they don't feel good to us, right? So external validation is not something that you should be looking for in this next season. The more true you are to your own essence, the validation is going to just come because nobody has what you have. Nobody can do what you can do. So of course they are going to recognize it. And the most important person that you really want to impress is yourself. When you think about who you were and how you showed up in your life in the past seasons, and then you think about who you are now, like that is something to celebrate. The fact that you got here. No one else in this world has your magic. So when you are building and creating and going through a process or getting in a new relationship, sometimes we want to share with people what we're doing because we want to know that we're moving in the right direction or we're on the right path, right? So we look for validation. We look for the people to give us the amen, the high five, the fist bump. In this situation, all of that has to come from you because this is yours. Nobody else has what you have. Nobody else can define what success looks like for you, right? So be mindful of the people that pocket watch or the spectators, the people that really aren't living their life. They're just practicing whatever obedience and compliance would look like to be a good little human, right? And so we're not saying that you're not good, but sometimes it takes a level of resistance and rebelliousness, right? To do what it is that you are called to do. Nobody else received that call. It wasn't a conference call. It was only for you to get. It was only for you to understand, right? Now, again, as you step forward, we already discussed that there's going to be some fear, but not only is there fear, there are memories, right? There's going to be old hurts, right? That need to be healed because those wounds cannot go forward. We don't need them. We learned what we need to learn. And so when you start to feel anxiety about traumas that you've experienced, when you start to go down memory lane about the betrayal or the abandonment that left your heart wounded, I want you to remember that it served a purpose. It served a lesson. You are going to need this heart to create your story, which means it has to be opened. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, it's going to have some scars, but we don't need it to have wounds. It does not need to be bleeding. It can't be bleeding because we have to honor the space we're in. And so if you are in a state where your heart is literally still aching and sobbing and bleeding, rightfully so because of what you've been through, realize that it is hard to build when your heart is crying out and asking to be healed, to be felt, to be paid, to be paid some type of attention. Your heart wants to heal only because it seeks to be open. It seeks to be free. And as long as we are wounded and we are anxious and we are kind of replaying the bad memories, our heart isn't free. And so honor the pain. Honor the wounds, honor the tears, honor the devastation. Like there's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about, and honor it so that we can give our heart what it needs. Sometimes we have literally put our heart in the hands of people that never had the tools, that never in this life or the next, they never would have known what to do with it. And so forgive yourself and forgive them. You take the heart back and then you gently and kindly and compassionately nurture it back to its wholest version. And when your heart is whole, it is not an indication that you've been through nothing or that you've endured nothing. It's just a reflection that you went through something and you actually knew how to self-heal. You knew how to recover. And so count on memories of the past re-emerging, right? But also count on your own courage. Count on the fact that you have the stamina to revisit old circumstances and then to heal them, right? When your heart is giving you a certain feeling or a certain memory or an image of a person, or you get the sensation of an event that you've been through, stop, honor it, reflect it, revisit it, and begin to heal it. Right? As long as your heart is pulling you back somewhere else, it's saying, hey, I want to go forward. I want to work with you. I want to be free. I want to open up and help you create. But we have a few more things back here that we just got to go through. So let's go through them. Let's do this together so that we can build, we can create, we can get the companion that we most want or we most desire. Right? And so this is what builds your confidence. When you have the ability to heal the things that hurt the most, this is what restores your own hurt, which means anything you go through, you are your nurse, you are your doctor, you're your friend, your lawyer, your therapist, your mentor. You literally can put on any hat and give yourself whatever you need at any time, right? And this is how suffering ends, not pain, because there's no way to be human and to not experience pain. But it is the suffering. It is living the pain again and again and again, even if it happened 2, 5, 10, or 25 years ago, right? That is suffering. Living in the moment as if it is just happening, as if you're still in it, as if it never even passed. And so suffering ends, and then what can you count on? all of that power that you put into your suffering and you put into keeping that pain alive, it now returns back to you. And you need it because you need it to build. That power is that, our wounds, that's the darkness. That's the shadow aspect of ourself. And so once you heal, you start to find these gifts, right? You start to find these treasures or these pieces of yourself that you never really got to get acclimated with because you couldn't see them beyond the devastation, right? And so the season that we are in is changing, right? Everything ebbs and flows. Our lives, our careers, the relationships that we attach ourselves to. Sometimes we want to go, 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 go. But maybe the season that we are in is asking us to stop. And so you are kind of in between you were almost, I imagine, the hangman. You were in this position where you're pausing in the outside world because internally something is going on, right? And so it's important to kind of identify, what season am I in? Don't even look to the outside environment to determine, because sometimes when we're really caught up in the matrix and we have to live the same day again and again, we wake up at this time, we go to work at this time, we come home, we eat at this time. Once you are in that, sometimes we can mistake that as a season. But listen, that is just a necessary evil, and it's just a part of being human on planet Earth. Welcome to the matrix. That is not always indicative of the season that you are in. That's just a responsibility or an obligation. And so your season, the season that you have that nobody else will ever have, is based on the magic within. It's based on the call, the feeling, the sensation that you have within you. Your desires, right? Your bliss will tell you the season that you are in. And so it is important to identify the season you're in, because you need to be going with the flow. If your season says rest, rest. If your season says work hard, right? If your season says, hey, it's time to reap our harvest, then reap the harvest, right? We don't want anything to force us in the wrong season, because that is how we get burned out, right? And so this is about taking time, taking things one at a time, and listening to the period of life that we are in. And remember, the day that you plant the seed is not the day that you eat your fruit. So this is where we get that energy of being ambitious versus being impatient. Just because you plant the seed doesn't mean you eat the fruit in an hour. Absolutely not. Time and the process is still the process. And so when you wait for things to unfold, the doubt, the worry, the fear, that's a great time to heal, right? You know you've planted the seeds. You know what you're preparing for. So get your inner workings, your inner organs, your internal waters prepared for what comes next. And so you could already be well on your way, delving into your creative aspects and talents and projects. And so as those unfold, do the internal work so that the person that shows up at the end to accept the trophy or to be seen, right, or to be celebrated for their achievements, emotionally can handle the space that they are stepping in, right? So this is knowing that once you get on that platform, you won't doubt, because you know that you are exactly where you need to be. You've done all the work that made you doubt who you were or feel unworthy. You are free to choose your healing and your light. You are free to create your own reality. This is what you are being challenged to do. This will make you stronger. This requires a certain amount of strength. There are many illusions. There are many veils, right, that are kind of covering our eyes about who we are, what we can do, what we can become, when can we do it, who can we do it with. I mean, tons of illusions, and they essentially will trap us and make us think that we don't have a path forward. But that is just a perspective that you must shift. You must lift and you must change, right? And so this is like choosing sovereignty over victimhood, right? Freeing yourself from the shackles, right? Shifting your own outcome, doing it dramatically. These are the things that you should be doing as that seed grows into the fruit that you can finally eat. You are the only person that is responsible for your happiness, right? So you have to figure out, how do I become the solution that I need, right? If I feel stuck, how do I get myself? I have to be a mechanic today. Well, tomorrow I got to be a plumber, right? And then the next day I've got to pull out my legal knowledge and my legal skills, because I've got to literally, you are your greatest answer and you will always be your greatest asset. And so anytime we start to feel feelings of helpfulness or no, helplessness, we must transmute them, right? We got to get rid of that energy, not ignore it. No, because if it comes up, it is something that needs to be addressed within us. But then we're going to take that energy and we're going to put it somewhere else that can benefit us. We cannot control the experiences that present themselves to us, but we can choose how we respond. Are we going to be the victim, or are we going to be the superpower, the super force that kind of changes this potential problem into, an easy experience, right? This was just a minor obstacle. This wasn't anything that was supposed to devastate or destroy our whole path, right? Releasing the old stories and the low vibe thoughts that we have is what will help us to reframe our experiences as just lessons. Oh, this wasn't punishment. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not a terrible person. I do deserve success. I am worthy of love. I am right. This is how you start to reframe the mind that you carry about who you are, what you are to become, what you can have. And a lot of the illusions are projections that other people used when they told us how they felt about us or what we deserved or what we didn't deserve, which is why moving forward in terms of companionships and partnerships, whether they are professional, whether they are intimate, right? Whether they are familial, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in a mom or dad's group, whether you're showing up to guitar class, be mindful of who you sit next to, right? Because we want people to mirror us. The perspective that you most desire should be held in the people that you are opposite. Okay, I've heard many times that we are the sum or the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. Sometimes we can't control who we are around, right? So if you can't control who you are surrounded by, control the amount of time that you spend hearing their voice, right? If you're in a house full of people, instead of sitting in the same room with these people for 6 hours at a time, for 3 hours, go find something else to do. Go find something else in that same house or in the vicinity of the home that you can participate in to lessen the exposure that you have to toxicity or negativity, right? And so what may be happening outside of your awareness is you just want to go home. You are yearning for a place that you can call your home. And our first home is our vessel, our body. This is our altar, right? Which is why if we have something inside of us that we really want to create and get out, we got to take care of our altar. Got to rest, got to eat right, got to exercise. Like, we have to know what it needs. You're a house plant. How do you take care of yourself, right? Like, really realize that you are a living, breathing organism with needs, and you know better than anybody how to meet and soothe your needs. You want to be home, but now listen, this place where you can call your home, it literally can be a home. It could be a village, a country, a region, a community, but you want to feel home in your body. You want to feel like this is a familiar place. It is a space where I'm comfortable, I'm safe, right? And so you want somewhere to root. And so maybe you are looking for things inside of your own essence that you can use to help you root, to help you settle. This is about investing in yourself and investing in the environment that you are a part of. Not anywhere and not anything will do. You may notice that if you pick up certain tasks or certain projects or you're in connections with certain people, you probably recognize that it will forever be unfulfilling because everything won't fulfill what you need. And so be honest, right? This is not squandering our time on energy on things that really are not making us feel alive. They are not returning the investment that we are pouring into them. And so can I walk away safely, right? You must do what is uniquely right for you. You must be inspired by what you do, right? Now, this home, it literally could be the space under your feet, right? You could be in a space. You could have just moved. You could be living in an environment that is ideal for what it is that you want to do. But something in your psyche may not have fully engaged it yet, right? And sometimes just because you physically move, it doesn't mean that emotionally you have moved to that new space. Mentally, you've processed it, right? Spiritually, if a part of your soul or a part of your spirit is elsewhere, and just because you physically move your body or your home or your location, it doesn't mean that every aspect, every dimension of who you are has caught up at the time that it has physically happened. So give yourself some grace, right? And realize that it takes time. If you've had a lot of memories in a career or in a relationship, right? Or in a certain environment, and you realize that you had to make a shift, you had to change. Sometimes it will take you a good amount of time to be unsettled, which is why we should release the dragon. Whatever is inside of you, that is a great time. Change the narrative of your story, of your existence. Even when the outside world is uncomfortable, how can you respond? Okay, and so this is about you being fully alive, right? And the outer landscape should mirror our inner landscape. So like I said, you could be in the ideal place, but internally you haven't arrived yet. That is okay. Recognize that, right? You are becoming who you were always supposed to become. That is a process. When you plant the seed, it is not when you eat the fruit, right? So the sun is going to shine again, right? Right now, it could look like darkness and you're like, please, where is the light? Where is the light? But guess what? It comes every day. So until the light arrives, take care of yourself. Go within, rest, get cozy, listen to music, read a good book, journal, have a deep cry or several deep cries. That's okay. But little by little, the light within you, it shines again, right? And so at some point, you'll be able to look around and be like, whoa, this is beautiful, right? Love is literally surrounding me. And it just took a moment to get that vision clear, right? And so your shift in your own awareness is coming. Be patient and graceful with yourself. Day is going to break once more, as it always does. We have gone through many seasons of darkness where we couldn't see, we couldn't anticipate. The rug has been pulled from under us. We have done that again and again and again. And guess what? There was a moment where we went from pure darkness to seeing a little glimpse or a hope of light, right? That is what you are being asked to do. So be mindful of what you choose in this space. Every choice that you make matters, right? And so you're yearning for this place called home. The way you choose to believe and the way you choose to go after finding, creating, or establishing that home, it matters. So there really is not about choosing one correct or one perfect path, right? Because that can complicate your decision. When you are in between worlds and you have to make choices, sometimes we can overthink ourselves outside of one situation. We can attach to another one, then we can outthink it, then we can choose it, right? So you just kind of go in this circle and circle of never choosing, never trusting, always fearing that the choice you make is not perfect, it's not correct, it's wrong. There is no way to know the outcome of every choice you make. Which is why internally you have to be healed enough so that you can use your intuition to decide. You use your soul. You use what is best for you. You use what gives you bliss, right? And so you choose what you desire, okay? And sometimes when we choose a path that is challenging, it actually ends up bringing us unexpected opportunities. Sometimes when we choose the easy path, that's the path that's going to be familiar. It's going to be unfulfilling. It is going to feel like a slow death, right? And so, guys, this is our reading, right? This is about you essentially awakening to who you are, to what you have within you. Realizing that there is something within you that you cannot hoard, you cannot be selfish with. Others need it. So let it loose, release the dragon, let it out, right? And take care of yourself as you grow whatever seeds are inside of you. Give yourself the best outcome. If you imagine that you are pregnant with you, seriously, it doesn't matter if you're man or woman, you are pregnant with yourself. You are growing a new version of you. Why not give yourself the best opportunity, the best possibility, and the best potential at whatever it is you're about to walk into? And so pay attention to what you need. Pay attention to the urgings, right? The season that you're in. Pay attention to self first. Don't rely on the validation or the approval or the opinions and acceptance of others. They don't know the magic that you have, and they're not supposed to know. They're not supposed to know. And guess what? For a lot of the path, you are not supposed to know. And that's because there are still lessons to learn. That's still healing to be done. Once you've acquired a certain amount of strength and resilience and stamina and faith in self and courage, then that's time. That's when you start to recognize what you have and who you are. Thank you so much for coming to this talk, and I will see you on the next one.